Hey everyone, it's Melody with Design by Melody here. This is my first layout with my November kit, my November stash kit, and I'm just going to jump right in. I have a photo collage of the 4th of July festival we went to at the YMCA, and Kaylin and Ernest are playing, where it like takes place in their baseball field, or in the field behind their baseball field, I should say. Um, so we're just outside playing, and these pictures are of Ernest swinging Kaylin around, and he's just giggling the whole time. So I'm going through my kit here. I have a lot of scraps, and I'm starting with those first. I had added scraps to my stash kit, as I always do, trying to use up some of the things that I have sitting around. And I'm liking these greens, but I'm not really sure what I want to pair it with. So I'm liking this dark blue paper, but I am going to find one other solution here, and it's going to be a solid piece of cardstock. I had pulled out a couple different ones, and I just like the colors of the blue and the green in the solid. So that's what I'm going to use. And then I am going to pull out a piece of green tone-on-tone polka dot to kind of use as a mat for my photos. And then I'm trying to figure out, okay, so I'm using a really high-tech method here, and I have a compass. I don't know why I didn't pull it out. That would have been so incredibly smart. But I use a piece of string, I tie it around my pencil, and I just kind of hold it in one center point and just make a circle around. Yes, I know, extremely high-tech. Don't be impressed. It's really sad because I honestly had a compass in the cabinet right next to me, and I didn't even think about pulling it out, but it works. So my tool or method of choice this month is stitching. So I decided to do this circle, and I'm going to stitch a circle around, and you're going to see it come together. I keep adding things as I'm going along. I decide to use a light gray thread here from my embroidery box, and then I'm actually going to punch holes for a second kind of overlapping circle as well. This is where I'm separating my threads. These are 6 thread strands or whatever, 6 ply, I guess you could say, and I'm separating it to be 3. 6 would have worked just fine, but I just didn't want to use up all of my thread, and 3 works just as fine as well. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a glimpse here, but I'm going to kind of skip over a good portion of this. And I'm sorry if you hear kind of a roaring in the background. I'm sitting next to our fireplace, and I'm freezing, so the fire is staying on. But hopefully you can't hear it too bad. So this is the end of the stitching, and I went ahead and made like a overlapping circle, and I don't like this one point where the circles kind of overlapped. I just didn't stitch it properly. I think I skipped a hole. So it kind of has a wonky side to it, but I'll cover that up. And this is where I'm really kind of settling on how I want this layout to come out. I will add more stitching here in a moment, but at this point, I don't think I want more stitching. When I had trimmed off the edges of my photo, it didn't have a white border all the way around, but it did have a white border in between the photos. So I went ahead and matted it on a piece of white paper. It's just the back of a single-sided pattern paper that I don't think I'll be using. And I'm just doing that so it has that same consistent white border all around the photo, just like it has in between the photos. And you guys should be proud. I didn't pull out my paper trimmer to cut these. Usually I'm really kind of anal retentive about having the lines being properly spaced. Now I am going to pull it out for this one because I needed the border around the whole layout to be pretty even. But I'm getting better about freehanding things and not pulling out my trimmer as much. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, though. I like things to be straight and even and all of that. So this is a happy compromise. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what I want to say. And I'm going to have a title plus kind of a bit of a subtitle. The title is going to be Round and Round We Go. And then the bottom is going to say Notes. A bunch of giggles is what it says. So I'm pulling out these foam thickers, and I'm trying to figure out which ones I can use. They're a slightly different shade of green, and it really didn't matter to me which I used. I just needed to make sure I had enough letters. So this is where I'm going to put Round and Round. And I'm going to pull out some small alphas to do the and part. And they're just kind of a light blue. I believe they were cut apart from a Fancy Pants piece of like sticker sheet, I believe, where it had a bunch of different alphas on it. I think it was Fancy Pants. And then I'm looking to see what my options are. And I kind of want to go around this photo, but I needed it to stay within the stitched circle. I didn't want it to overlap the circle, because then you have to deal with the, like the different heights of the letters, like the letters that would overlap the circle would kind of be bumpy, and I didn't like that. And I don't have an E, so I'm going to make my own little round and round we go. And I used, I believe, either a dot or a comma to make the rest of that E. And honestly, I completely forgot I did that till I'm sitting here watching this video as I record it, or as I do the voiceover, and I look at my layout and I go, oh yeah, I did piece that together. I forgot about that. You can't even tell, which is what I love about it. These foam thickers are really easy to work with, and I really like them. There's a lot of them. They're the tall and skinny font, so there's a lot on one page, and it just makes it really easy to use. I like having these sets in my stash. I kind of fiddle around a bit with this layout, just trying to figure out exactly what I want to do. This is how I solve my cover up that weird little spot in my stitching. I put a label there, and I'm going to do a cluster kind of almost off the page. Now, these label stickers are from Recollections, and I really like them, but they are kind of a bit transparent whenever you take them off of the sticker sheet. So I'm just backing it on a piece of white paper, and then I have this green kind of arrow type sticker that I put on the bottom, and then I'm putting the rest of it up here on the top. And I will fiddle with this blue label a couple times because it just doesn't seem straight to me. And this is where I'm adding the part that says a bunch of giggles. You can't really tell because the photos are small, but he's just giggling, and he's just got his feet tucked up, and Ernest is kind of tickling him at the same time, so he's just kind of having a good old time here with his dad. I didn't have any plans for this layout, really, other than I knew I wanted to do a bit of stitching, and that was about it. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I really like how it turned out, though. I like the bright colors, but I kind of like the simpleness of it. There's not a huge pattern in the background, but the stitching gives a bit of flow to the layout, so I really like that. I was running extremely low on adhesive, so on the big parts I'm using some double-sided tape just to kind of help. And then I use this, just a foam sticker, to give it a bit of lift on the opposite side of the stitching there, because the photo wasn't laying flat, being that it was overlapping the stitching. Pulling out a couple LE Studio labels here, and this one says U equals awesome, and I'm going to layer these over top of this tag at the top, and just let them hang off. It doesn't bother me that it hangs off. It adds a little bit more fluidity, I think, to the layout. That just may be in my mind, but it works for me. All right, and I'm like, what else am I going to do? I like this photo notes label because it matches the color scheme, and so I just needed to check the date. Now, this is a 4th of July festival. They call it their Freedom Festival, but it is on either the Saturday or Sunday before 4th of July, so it ended up being in June, even though it's going to be in the July part of my scrapbook. It is June that it actually happens. I think it was June 29th. Now I'm going to add some stitching down here to the right. I just felt like it needed something down here, and so I'm kind of poking holes in the sticker overlapping, and then also kind of at the top where the alpha stickers are, and you're going to see the end result here. I really like how this turned out. And then I'm going to add a little bit more stitching to the bottom left of the layout as well, kind of some overlapping circles rolling off of the page. It kind of goes with the whole round and round theme as well, so I like that. All right, see, there you go. It does overlap that circle all the way to the end, even though you can't tell right here. And then this is where I'm going to do the circle stitching. And then I'll skip ahead as well, so you don't have to watch that whole process, but this is the way it turns out here at the end. So there we go. They're stitching in 3 different places on the layout, and I really like how it is, and it stands out really well against this blue paper. It's not too busy. It's just kind of nice and cohesive. So I decided that's all the stitching I'm going to do. So I'm going to use some double-sided tape here to just tape down my background, or my piece of cardstock onto the background piece of cardstock. And I probably should have gutted the center of that, but I didn't. No big deal. I have plenty of green paper. Green, I don't actually scrapbook with that frequently. I'm not sure why, but I don't. But I'm really loving the green and the blue together. I'm more of kind of a pink and a teal and a white type of scrapbooker, but I'm really loving the greens and the blues and the grays in this kit that I put together. I have a feeling though there's definitely a set of papers that are more my style than other ones, and I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with the other ones. So I have a feeling there's definitely going to be a lot of, I'll use all the papers I really, really like at first, and then I'll have more of a challenge at the end to use the other ones. The sticker I cut up just says best choice, and I cut off I believe it was a black border around it just so it's more of just the gray. This is where I add that sticker that says notes, and then I'm going to use a piece of it here on the other side as well. It's kind of a gray and blue text print on it. Just adding a few more embellishments here, and I apologize that the video cut off. I'm going to show you real quick what I added, and then I'll have some still shots at the end. I added some, what do you call these? Word stickers. One that says, "This is just too cute," and then I had some foam hearts that are from that thicker set, and then I added some little puffy circles, and that is it. Stay tuned, see the still shots at the end of this video. I really like how this turned out. It was a great way to start a kit for me. It was something a little bit different than what I normally do with the stitching, but again, I really like the way that it turned out. So please give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Also subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see other layouts that I make with this November stash kit. I post 3 times a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. All right, thanks guys. Bye.